I've just watched the final episode of Traitors and it's so good. I'm really liking this series. I wanted to watch more episodes and they hadn't actually been released yet, so I went to go and see the season one, which was on last year. And that was awful. I watched a couple of episodes, but it annoyed me because all the candidates that they chose were candidates who wanted to be on the sort of on the faithful side. And I got to the stage, I think I watched like three episodes and then they were trying to recruit someone to get them onto the traitor side, but they actually refused it. And then I was kind of thinking at the group, and I was thinking I can't imagine any of them wanting to be a traitor, and I lost interest. It wasn't very interesting because it just felt like it was just a group of normal people that wanted to be friends, and it was just like I don't really want to watch something that's you don't want to watch a film a series called Traitors and find that it's just a bunch of people that just want to be friends and just want to be faithful to each other. I mean that was really boring. So I didn't watch any more of that. But this episode is really good because half the housemates. I saw the first episode, and in that it showed how half the housemates did actually want to be traitors. Like there was a few candidates that really wanted to be, and then she chose two candidates that I really liked. I did like Harry and the other one, the gingerhead one. And then the third one, I was like, I didn't think she would necessarily be so good. But I thought it was interesting because it kind of made me realize that, any one of them could have been a traitor. And it's actually probably better if they do seem less traitorish because there was one, the old lady, I would have thought the old lady, she seemed like most keen to want to be a traitor. But because she seemed like she most wanted to be a traitor, the faithfuls voted her out because they obviously saw her keenness to want to be a traitor. But yeah, just because you want to be a traitor, that doesn't mean you are a traitor. Only the ones that got selected by the presenter got chosen. So it was, and then you kind of look at all the others, and you kind of feel like a lot of them kind of had a darker side. Hence, you had to try and work out the difference between who were traitors because they actually were traitors versus who probably wanted to be a traitor but wasn't given that role and stuff, and that's what made this episode so interesting because I guess people were choosing, so they were trying to get rid of the people who probably wanted to be a traitor, rather than just try and work out who actually is a traitor. If half of them want to be traitors, but only three of them are traitors, then it makes it harder to work out who, especially if there's a group of 20. If you think 10 of them would make really good traitors, but only three are, trying to work out those three is probably really hard because everyone's doing their best to try and prove that they're faithfuls. And so, yeah, they're all getting it wrong. And I liked Harry, how he was very good at lying. And I also liked how he almost won £7,000, but he turned it down because he wanted to go in for the big money. And yeah, I was a little bit worried on this last episode because I thought Andrew might take it, but for some reason Jazz chose him rather than Harry. Like I was convinced that he would have gone for Harry first. I think if he would have gone up, because he had a suspicion on Harry. If they would have all voted, if he had have voted for Harry, then Harry would have gone first, and then he would have probably. If I was Jazz, I should have chosen Harry first, but I'm really glad that he didn't because I think that Harry deserved to win the most. I mean, he was a traitor from the very beginning, so he'd spent weeks lying to the whole group, and yeah, I would love to be in this film, in this series, but I wouldn't because I'm Christ, I'm God. I think if there were traitors in the group and they knew who I was, they'd probably find it difficult to lie to me because that's kind of the traitors have to lie about not being traitors, and I think I wouldn't be able to do something like this, because people wouldn't want to lie to me, and likewise I wouldn't want to lie to them, even though I'd be good at it and I would see it as a game. It's not really, considering I'm Christ, considering I'm God, considering my religion, it's probably not something that I should do. But because of that, it means that I can't feel jealousy over it. Like with Big Brother, I can't watch it because I just feel angry how I'm not on the show. I feel angry how they've chosen other people, not me. But I can't feel that way about this one because it's not for me. Likewise, I can no longer feel jealous about the Love Island show because it's about relationships and I don't want any relationships any longer. So I can't feel jealous over that, although I just feel like they're younger people now. I'm older than that group and stuff. But yeah, um, and came across an article today about people saying that Michael Jackson is not dead and still alive. And, I know it's just a Facebook comment and stuff, but it's made me think, um, if this is a different topic to what I was talking about earlier, but it's made me think that if Martin wants to, I don't know, because he hasn't done anything in 11 years, and I believe Martin Dodd is Michael Jackson, but I don't know if he wants to get involved in any way. I really don't know. I was hoping that maybe some of Justin Timberlake's songs might help link to this, or give me some information about him, but I'm not really getting anything. I mean, his song's just a love song, and I don't think it's got really anything to do with me. Uh, but yeah, I there's supposed to be like a male Antichrist that people are waiting for, and I don't know if Martin is interested in any way. There's I have no evidence to prove that he wants to have anything to do with this. Um, but it makes me wonder, like, are people going to start talking about him being Michael Jackson, and saying, the Son of God has returned, because I want people to be tested on whether or not they can believe that I'm God. But he is the Son of God. He was my son when I was Eve, and I have no idea if he wants to get involved, or if he wants his face to be known, or if he's just going to remain in the shadows, or you know if he even believes is another question. I still don't know. I don't talk about him being Michael because I would rather talk to him first about everything. But yeah, and I'm also paranoid about, like, why, what does he know, why is he not speaking to me, what has made, what does he know that I don't, and it's really really hurt me not knowing this. I don't know if I want to meet him, or I don't, but at the same time, it's just put a theory, a thought into my head, like, is he going to rise? Are people going to start saying that the Son of God has returned, and then show him, and say, this is Michael Jackson. He died and rose again. Okay, he's 53, 54 now, and therefore there's an overlap. When Michael Jackson died, he time traveled back time, and then did a sort of lived in a different body through time. But you know, the evidence that proves that he is Michael is probably very, very, very slim. The evidence that I am God is very, very, very high, and the evidence that I was actually, the evidence that I'm Leah is not that massive. I think the most of the evidence is just about things that I'm inspiring through time. But if I'm saying that I'm God, and I'm saying that he was my son, and I think he's Michael Jackson too, I feel like that is the evidence. Me being God and me believing this, or me saying this, is probably a part of the evidence. But yeah, if he wants to get involved in whatever, the exposure of what I'm preaching and stuff, if he, people want to see the Son of God and all that, that is technically him. Now, if people back him up and say, yeah, this is the Son of God, but give no evidence, because technically I don't know what he links to, because I don't know anything about him in this life. But yeah, it's just making me think about, is that going to happen? I don't know. Justin Timberlake's got some songs coming out. Maybe there'll be some answers there. I don't know. If they're just going to be about a love and a relationship, then I don't think there's any answers there, because Martin does not like me, and I don't want to have anything to do with him. He's been ignoring me for 11 years. That's completely unforgivable.